Sunday night, I'm drinking wine.
Hey Labia Talkers, we are back to dish the dirt on all things living abroad in your late 20s, almost early 30s. We are here every single week bringing you unique content. But before we get started, just a heads up that no topic is off limits for this beautiful podcast. So if that's not your cup of tea, then we told you, didn't we? What's going on, Maggie?
Hey, Ollie. How are you?
Oh my god, I sounded so weird in that introduction.
You sounded like you were a little bit, I don't know, under the sea or something.
Well, technically, I am under something. I'm under the weather. I'm not feeling very good, actually. How are you?
Oh, bless you. I'm sad to hear you're poorly. I'm perfectly fine, to be honest. A little bit chilly, but all is well. I can't complain.
And what are you drinking today?
I've got a local London brewery. I've got a Camden Hells Lager with me here today.
Oh, Camden Hells. You're not drinking the Mexican beer this week?
No, I've decided to give my cerveza mexicana una pausa. What about you, sweetie? What are you drinking?
Well, I am drinking a cup of tea and a glass of water as I'm, swallowing my antibiotics. Just a bit of a sore throat. Hopefully it's nothing worse, but it's because I've been going on too many dates.
Hey, you're going to be fine and dandy in no time. Don't worry, honey. I'm confident. Absolutely.
What episode is this? Is it episode 19?
I think we've made it to 19
God.
now.
I'm shook. And I just mentioned about me going on dates, and that's the topic that I want to talk about today. And that leads me on to our beautiful segue. And, as a native Brit and Aussie, English is the language that we normally speak on a date. But what is it like to live abroad and date people whose language is not English? The prospect for me for going on a date in a foreign country with a person who doesn't speak English, it sounds quite daunting, indeed. But it can also be an exciting experience and a challenge for those who want to immerse themselves in a country they've decided to call home for a short period of time. Just as making friends in a foreign country is essential for true cultural immersion, dating natives is a way to truly immerse yourself in the culture of a country. What do you think, Maggie?
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. Love to hear more, Ollie. What do you think? Well, I know that we've had our fair share of dates in Spanish, you in Portuguese, and some of them have been probably more eloquent, some have been more broken. And today, that's what we want to discuss, what it's like to go on a date and not to speak your native language. How much Spanish, how much Portuguese do you need to know? Can you really get to know someone through a limited set of words and phrases? And how do you flirt in a foreign language? I don't know, Ollie, can you sext in a language if you don't know the technical words for certain things?
I don't know. It's really getting me thinking. But before we get into that conversation, we have a really special shout out, don't we, Maggie?
Oh, yeah. This week, our shout out comes from somebody a little bit closer to home for me. It's from our lovely listener, Robin. So, woo! Thank you very much, Robin, for listening to Labia Talk, especially very recently. You're a new listener of ours, and Robin is my very dear friend that I met and I worked with when I was living in Mexico. So I met Robin back last August. We really hit it off. She's a fantastic girl, absolute great sense of humor, doesn't take herself seriously, and just like a total laugh and someone great to be around. And Robin said that she listened to our latest episode and she thought it was super professional and very legit. So, babe, we feel fantastic hearing that and such a compliment to us.
I know, it's so nice to have new listeners.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, darling. And we're looking forward to Labia Talk growing and being heard by new audiences, different ages, different groups, different nationalities. So it's really great to have Robin on board as one of our listeners now. Thank you so much. We love ya.
We love ya. Woo woo. And if you are sitting at home and want us to shout you out, you can message us on at Labiatalk Podcast on Instagram, or you can send us an email at labiatalkpodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, make sure you give us a 5-star review if you can on Spotify. I don't know if that's possible, but yeah.
Give us the top stars, guys.
Yeah, we want the top stars. We don't want the bottom stars. We want the top. And then this leads us on to our burning question of the day, Maddie.
Maddie? Who's Maddie? Ollie.
I'm slurring my words. I told you I'm under the weather. I can't deal with it today.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Who's reading the burning question?
The burning question is, should language be a barrier to getting to know someone?
It's a very, very good question. It's got me burning in my loins indeed.
I know. Well, my answer is pretty much no.
I mean, in theory, no. But I would like to delve deeper today and hear about your experiences, Ollie. Because I mean, it's something that we're both very well acquainted with. Ever since you moved to Bolivia, I moved to Bolivia. Especially there's barely any English speakers. And most of the dates that we had been on were with either Spanish speakers or with Portuguese speakers in your case as well.
Yeah, I mean, if people know that, my previous relationship in Bolivia, I've spoken about him. If you've listened to the podcast, he doesn't speak English, so that was a challenge. So, maybe if I think about this question, I don't think it should be a barrier to getting to know someone, but it might, if language is such an issue and, you can't connect on a deeper level, then maybe that might be something that you need to think about before you actually dive in. So, for me personally, because we'll speak about this in a second, because I feel confident enough to go on a date in Spanish or Portuguese, for me it's not an issue, but I think if you're considering meeting someone from a foreign country who doesn't speak the same language as you, the date might be fun and you might really like the person, but you might struggle to get on a deeper connection with that person. And I guess that was my worry back when I first started dating my ex. But obviously, if you're learning that language and you can get better at communicating, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I don't think language should be a barrier, but I do think sometimes it is a barrier as a fact. It can be a barrier to getting to know somebody, and that's talking from my personal experiences. And that's why, Ollie, I want to ask you, I'm quite obviously I'm familiar with my experiences, but I want to know, what are your experiences of dating in a foreign language?
Great question. I mean, all of my partners have been foreigners. I've never dated an Australian, so it's always, in a couple of relationships, English has been the language, and then in others, it's been Spanish, and I've had a few dates in Portuguese, but it hasn't really, moved into anything deeper than, a couple of dates. So I've had many. I think that's for the reason why I'm in South America, right? The fact that, can we just stop there? I think I need to get a beer. I'm too PG. I'm going to go get a beer.
Yes, babe. Yes!
Okay, just wait for me.
I'm not going to say anything. Do it, babes. You got to do it. You're going to get so smashed as well if you're on antibiotics. Oh, Ollie, I'm so happy. Hang on, I'm going to do a little story for Labia Talk. Ollie, I'm so happy. You've got to do it. Come on. Oh, sorry, I didn't do it on us. Hang on. I took a picture of myself, Ollie. I've got to take a both of us. Okay. Go on. No, go on. Let's pose together. Hang on.
I love how I was smiling. Okay, guys. Well, I'm back and I've got a beer and I feel like I'm more than prepared to talk about this topic now because I felt like I was at work, like I was in a fucking interview or a business conversation.
Yeah, babe. I'm just going to say, right, I know you're ill and everything, but you're going to feel a hell of a lot better. You're just going to feel a hell of a lot better if you're doing it. Come on.
So, Maggie, we've had similar experiences like dating in a foreign language in terms of like being in Bolivia, you being in Mexico. So it hasn't held us back. But I want to know if like the person you're on a date with is, non-native, do you prefer speaking English or their native language? Like if they can speak in English, would you prefer to speak English or is it a bit of both?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I've always personally preferred to speak Spanish because at the end of the day, I've moved to this particular country in order to improve my Spanish and in order to learn and have like a complete Spanish immersion, I suppose. So I've always been very adamant from the beginning. If I've started chatting to somebody on Tinder or wherever, when I've been in Bolivia or Mexico, I've very much told them, no, 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 hablo español, or like, a little bit anyway. And that, yo hablo español, or a little bit anyway. And that's sort of, I try to lead the conversation that way in Spanish.
Yeah, I think that's the cute thing about like being able to like have the confidence to go on a date in Spanish and Portuguese, right?
Yeah.
Like whenever I'm on a date and like when it's like, oh, do you speak Portuguese or do you speak Spanish? Yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
And I think if that other person is patient enough to understand you and like help you out, then it's going to be great. I think the best thing is if they don't speak English, because then they're forced to like use more simple language and then you're forced to, I don't know, understand them. So it's kind of like, it's more beneficial for you. I mean, it's worse for them, but it's like, you know,
100%.
you want to be selfish, right?
Yeah. And I remember that so well. I remember that was like one of the first pieces of advice you gave me, Ollie, when I moved to Bolivia. Yeah, you told me, we were talking about, I don't know, we were talking about Tinder. Have you spoken to anybody on Tinder yet? Blah, blah, blah. This was like in my first few weeks, maybe my first month or something since moving there. And you told me if you meet anybody, the best thing is if you meet someone who doesn't speak English, because then you'll be forced to communicate in Spanish. And yeah, and I think I do agree with you. When I've been in those situations, you do try harder to communicate. You do listen to the person, and it's a good thing for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
To be forced to
Absolutely.
speak the language and immerse yourself.
I don't know. I think it's like if you don't have any experience in the language and then that person doesn't speak English, I think that might be a little bit difficult. But like, I don't think it should stop you from like at least going on the first date to like seeing if you have anything like chemistry. For example, my friend told me when he was in China, he used to go on dates with people. He used to go on dates with Chinese boys, and they would literally just like have their translator out to talk to each other because they couldn't.
No way.
It's so beautiful, right?
Oh my gosh, that's insane. But Ollie, this is my
Yeah.
kind of question. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you. Did you want to say something? No, but this is my sort of question because on that note, like how little of the language do you need to know in order to have a conversation and to sustain a conversation? Because
I mean, I would
No, because when I first arrived in Bolivia, I didn't know that much Spanish. I mean, I was probably like I'd say more of an A2 than an A1 level, maybe like a bit of a confident A2. But where I am in Spanish now is obviously like miles ahead than when I was when I arrived in Bolivia.
Are you?
Hey, I do feel miles more confident anyway, and I feel like my
Yeah.
vocabulary has definitely broadened. But at the time, my Spanish was, it was quite basic. And I remember when I was going out on dates, I was thinking, oh God, there's a bit of a language barrier here. Oh, I'm not really communicating properly. Oh, I don't really understand what the person is saying, Oh my God. I mean, I'm going to drop some names in a moment, but
Or what the person wants as well, right? So yeah, I guess I don't know. I think we maybe underestimate our language ability, but then when we're in the moment, it's like, oh, can we actually like show them who our personality is as a person? Can you really be your true self in a foreign date?
right, because I don't know. I as a bilingual person, what's the word? As a bilingual speaker, because I speak Polish as well. I'm a native Polish speaker. I personally feel my Polish self is quite different to my British self. I don't think I've got exactly the same personality. And that just comes down to me having a more limited vocabulary in Polish than I do in English. So I can't fully articulate myself or express myself or express my sense of humor, my weirdness, like my quirks and things like that I can do to you in English. I don't think I can do exactly the same to my Polish friends. And the same goes when I'm speaking Spanish, because it's so limited. I don't feel like I can be my total self. I don't
Except
know
when you've
how
got
you...
alcohol.
I mean, I can communicate through non-verbal ways, but verbally, I don't know if I'm coming across in the same way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that because, like, from my experience, like, actually being in a relationship and,
Yeah.
you know, being asked, or being told, like, oh, I really like you, but I don't think, like, we have, like, our language is, like, too different. We're not going to connect on that deeper level, and that's what I'm scared of. And, you know, being told that to your face, like, oh, basically, not that you can't speak the language, but, like, language is going to stop us from being together. It was a really powerful thing to say and like a really devastating thing to hear. So
Yeah.
I definitely think there are limits to it, but I don't think language should be like the be all and end all. Like if you love someone, you're going to... I mean, I guess we're talking about like first dates when we're getting into love now, but like, you know,
No
just
way,
saying,
no.
so we're both encouraging you to go on the date, and if it goes well and the sex is great because that's obviously what you're going to do, then like try and explore learning learning their language, because I don't think there's anything wrong with learning a language for love, right?
No, absolutely, Ollie. And I mean, like you're saying, like love is more than you don't fall in love with somebody through their... I mean, maybe you do through their words, but you know, it's like a more what's the word I'm looking for? It's more of a like physiological thing, right? It's not like words and like... So of course you can fall in love with somebody, I imagine, who doesn't speak your native language. It happens all the time. It's never happened to me, but it happens all the time. It's happened to you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean that goes on to like, can you have sexual chemistry with if there's a language barrier? And definitely, I think so. All three of my relationships, you know, the first two they could speak English, but like not at the start. Their English was fucking shit. Now they're fluent. They're natives. And then my last one obviously still doesn't speak English. I think he can say, "Do you want to suck me?" or I want to see your bum. I think that's all he can say.
he could use the present simple tense.
He can use.
Can
the
he
present simple
conjugate
tense.
his verbs correctly? We don't know, but he can tell you like he
Probably
wants
not.
to see your bum.
So no, I do
Uh-huh.
think. I think sexual chemistry can definitely exist if there's a language barrier. I mean, I have sexual chemistry with everyone that I walk past here in Rio.
Absolutely.
That's obviously a joke, but
Yeah,
let's go back to before the date when you're like in the Tinder stages.
Sure.
What's the sexting like in Spanish and Portuguese? Have
that's
you
a
learned
good
any
question, isn't
slang?
it?
Do you use the slang? Do you use Spanglish?
Yeah, I guess only I've had some experiences where people are texting me and I'm like, huh? What does that mean? What are you talking about? And I guess they're using abbreviations or different ways to write, just like basic words in Spanish, like que with just a Q, you know,
Porque
what
with an
just
X?
Porque, exactly, with
Have
an
you seen
X.
that? With an X? Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. And then I've had some weird ones as well. And I don't know if that's just like specific Mexican Spanish. I can't remember the words exactly now, but I remember I had to like translate it because I've never seen this word in my life. I was like, oh. So just kind of navigating that was like another extra obstacle, I guess, to, you know, you're texting somebody first, you're trying to get to know somebody by message in Spanish, and then you add to it like the slang or like the weird abbreviations or whatever. It's just like, ooh, another thing.
How to sound sexy in Spanish.
Oh
as a
god, I
gringa.
can't. Oh my god, I know I can't sound sexy in Spanish.
Top tip, copy what people write to you and then
Save
Yeah.
those and remember those phrases for next
Yeah.
time.
remember
Well,
those phrases for next time.
yeah, well, I remember like I think you were the one who told me what coger means. But then
What does it
coger-
mean?
Well, coger in Spain means like to hold or to take or something, right? It's got a difference. And I think maybe it is used in Latin America like that as well. But then it also means to fuck. And I remember very well because I just remember like it was just a good catchphrase, and like it's still very much like in my memories of Mexico. This guy who I went on a date with was like, I asked him, oh, okay, so like, hang on, I can't remember how, oh, fuck, Ollie. Anyway, we were sitting like on the curb. We were like sitting on the curb of the street, just like having a drink. And then, because there was nothing open, because it was like fucking quarantine. And then I asked him, I think, oh, so what do you like to do? Oh, not what you like to do. I can't remember exactly what I asked him. But anyway, and then he was like, comer, dormir y coger. It's like, okay. And in that moment, I was like, thank God. So simple, right? But isn't that what life's all about, right? Comer, coger y dormir.
And that means eat, sleep, and fuck. Makes sense, right?
I think that's what we're designed to do. So then that made me think, at least I knew some of the language, right? It wasn't like a complete obstacle. Yeah. But then there were other things he was telling me that I just didn't understand. And I don't know if you've been like this on a date before, Ollie, but you know, somebody will be talking at you and you'll just literally be like, seep. But yeah, I don't know if that's happened to you before. And I've just been like, seep.
Totally. It happens. I mean, especially if that person's fucking boring as well. I mean, you can't always go on dates with fun people.
No. Oh my God.
We're not, I mean, not everyone's like us. They're not all fun.
I know. We're actually so exclusive and so special. It's unreal.
So, I want to go back to your friend in Mexico. He said, dormir, comer, coger. Fucking, right? And I guess this is a bit of an issue for me, the next point that I want to raise, like being able to articulate in bed, because I've had an experience in Bolivia with, you know, a 19-year-old who everybody knows about, and just a bit too much at times. And like, I would have to physically use my body to get him off me because he didn't understand, or he just wasn't fucking listening. So I guess that's been an issue with me, definitely, more so in bed rather than on dates, because I don't really like know what to, you know, say other than slap them.
Yeah,
kick them.
Jesus.
Stop it, bitch, you're hurting me.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to experience that. That's really unpleasant.
I know, but I kind of do miss like his style.
He was a little bit rougher, right, than the other guys you've been with. Yeah. And it's a very good point, because I've definitely had the same experience where, you know, I'm not able to exactly express myself and like how I'm feeling. And like if we were speaking, you know, if the person spoke English, like I could just be like, mate, what the fuck are you doing? Or like, just, you know, stop a moment, that hurts. Or like, oh, I don't like that. Whereas, I don't know. I mean, obviously I can say no me gusta or whatever. Or like, but it's not the same, and it's quite difficult. Yeah, it's very, like, I feel there is that language barrier in that situation, because you're so in the moment, you're so kind of focused.
Vulnerable.
You're so vulnerable, right? And some people just don't listen, and they don't actually listen to like your needs or what you want. And yeah, it can be quite upsetting, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I definitely kind of had that. And but then I had no trouble kicking the person out the next day. That was a good thing.
Oh, like, I'm glad.
You go get yourself an in-driver. Oh, you go get. Oh, look, it's in the area. Even back. Oh, you go, babes. You go, babe. I've got loads of things.
Order you an Uber.
Just gotta order you an Uber. Oh, I love kicking them out. It's the best feeling.
Yeah.
You too.
Maybe we could do it. We could do an episode on like how we've kicked people out in the past.
Or how we try and leave strategically as well.
Yeah.
Because I think overstaying a nightly visit is never fun.
No.
I don't want anybody experiencing my morning breath, you know what I mean? Only the absolute elite, only the most elite get to experience my morning breath, because it's something special, I'm telling you.
That's true. Oh, God. Yeah. Would you say, like, okay, let's go on, like, we've gone on to a date and everything like that. Would you say, like, the bedroom behavior is slightly different from, like, culture to culture? Or is it just, or is sex?
Well, I think we've kind of touched on this in most of our podcasts. So there's a
That's
few
true.
overlaps here. I personally think the culture is different. I
Me
think
too.
I guess it's just like more traditional sort of binaries, gender binary. Men are supposed to take the lead, men are more dominant, women are more submissive. So that's just my experience personally, and that's something that's where language just doesn't get involved. Language is not important in that situation because people just kind of because you're sort of just expressing yourself. So yeah, I'd say that's definitely been different, and there are definitely similarities between my experiences in Bolivia and my experiences in Mexico. And I think people from other countries or where I've lived, when I've lived in the UK, yeah, people are different here. What about you,
Interesting
hon?
insight, Maggie.
Yeah, you tell
Oh
me.
no, I mean I'm just here for the sex, so I really like Latin lovers. But
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't say Latin lovers because Bolivians. I had a few nice experiences with Bolivians, but like overall, we know that I'm attracted to Brazilians and their method of fucking.
Was there any like
So
commonality between the Bolivians and hang on, can we even maybe this is a bit like
I mean, like similar kisses. Like I feel like the Latin kiss is a lot more open, a lot more tongue is used. It's a lot more passionate.
I've got to
as
say the
opposed
Latin
to, like,
kisses I've
this.
had are good.
I agree.
I mean the fucks are less
I'm-
good.
Well, I'm the opposite of that. I think they're very good. So,
Well,
but
I haven't fucked a
let's-
Brazilian. And
Well,
you've probably fucked
I mean,
9 million of them. A million of them.
220 million every Brazilian. No. All right, Maggie, let's sum up this topic. So, what have we decided about whether language should be a barrier in getting to know someone?
Well, it's absolutely not a barrier. And, absolutely shouldn't be a barrier. However, unfortunately, sometimes you can't articulate yourself properly, especially in the bedroom, as we've established. It's quite difficult to say what you want sometimes, and you might not understand what the person is saying on a date. However, that should not stop you from getting to know somebody, because if you really fancy somebody, if you really want to get to know them, then language doesn't matter, as has been in your experience.
I just had a thought, actually. So, maybe you've enjoyed the date and, like, language hasn't been that bad, but, like, the sex has been terrible. Then that's when you stop it, right? You stop it because the sex isn't bad, not because the language is bad. Right?
Yeah, that's difficult to stop it because they actually understand some English. You're like, I mean, we should just be friends. I could see you as friends.
Yeah. Amigos?
Amigos para siempre. Bueno.
Bueno. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you head over to our Instagram at Labia Talk Podcast and give our pictures a like, and make sure you follow us to stay updated with our new episode every week.
Absolutely. Give us a little follow on Facebook. Write to us on Gmail at labiatalkpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll love to hear from you. We'll give you a shout out. We want to know what you guys think of our new format, our topics. Is there something that you'd like us to discuss? Is there something you don't agree with? Let us know. And as always, we want to give a big thank you to Amy for the amazing music, and to Alejandra Gonzalez, our lovely Boliviana, for the logo design. Thank you so much, girls. Ollie,
Catch
it's
you
been
next time,
absolutely
Maggie.
grand. Yeah, speak
Catch
to you
you next
later,
time, Maggie.
babes. See you next week, Ollie. See you next week.
See you
Ciao,
next
ciao.
week. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Arrivederci. Bye bye.
Arrivederci.
It's Sunday night, I'm drinking wine.